It's Hollie's Hotspurs back with another one. Chatting all things Tottenham, we're second to none. Special guests every time, if it's win, lose or draw. The passion is high like Harry Kane when he scores. Or when Lloris makes a world-class save. We got Højbjerg running the mid every game. Settle down, stick around, share your thoughts with the panel. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Coys.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollie's Hotspurs Live, and tonight we're going to talk about that 4-0 win against Villa. It feels so good at the moment to be talking about wins. I hope it continues and may it do. So without further ado, tonight to discuss it all, we have three fabulous guests once again. I mean, this man needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. We have Graham Roberts on the show once again. Graham, how are you this evening?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Much better now. Now we're winning, so
yeah, it's good, isn't it? We don't need therapy sessions so much anymore. We can just relive the good times from the weekend, so it's good times. Also joining me is Dakota. Dakota, welcome once again on the channel. You did so well last week. I needed to have you on once again, mate.
Hey, well, I appreciate that. Good to be talking about another win. Hollie, scheduling is weird sometimes. I've been on your show more than my own lately, so thanks for having me on again. Glad to be talking about a win.
No worries. Thank you for joining me again. And also we have Jay also returning to the channel. Jay, how are you this fine Monday evening?
A lot better now. Obviously, like Graham said, after a win. I think last time I was on with Graham, we were talking after a loss. So it's probably a lot better, this conversation, than the last one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think you might have been on with Mickey. I'm not sure you was on with me, was you?
I think I've been on with you before, Graham, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, no.
There's not a lot of difference between me and Mickey.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, so like we say, we've got a 4-0 win to discuss. And I think the first thing we kind of need to discuss is the fact that it was once again the same lineup. Now, Dakota, I'll come to you first for this one, because I know we were talking about the Brighton preview and we said that consistency is key. And we saw that consistency again, because obviously it was the same lineup that played previously.
Yeah, I was honestly a little bit surprised to see Doherty slotted back in at left wing back. But he absolutely earned the opportunity to do that off his last performance. So really unfortunate for him to pick up an injury that's going to see him out for, basically until the beginning of next season. But many well wishes to him on the rehab. And that leaves Reguilon and Sessegnon to pick up the pieces, which Reguilon did a fine job of in his 70 minutes at the weekend.
So, yeah, no, it is interesting. Like I say, it is really sad to obviously see what happened to Doherty. But, Roberts, I think I'm kind of liking the way Conte is kind of thinking, I'm not going to drop you if you're playing well. And even though that was Doherty's wrong side, shall we say, he's persistently keeping him there. I know it's going to be a different story now, but are you kind of liking the way that Conte kind of thinks and that kind of thought process?
Is that to me or?
Yeah, that's to you. Sorry, guys.
Oh, sorry. No, look, to be honest, we beat Everton 5-0. We beat Newcastle 5-1. And, the team played well. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be swapping and changing just for the sake of it. And that's why, if you have a look, the three centre-halves now are understanding each other. And they know what each other's doing, and it's helping. It's helping a lot because, we're starting to keep clean sheets. All right, Aston Villa, I don't know, I think they had about 14 shots, but that's what your goalkeeper's there for. He's not just stood on that line and say, oh, shoot, and it can go in. That's, it's what Hugo's paid to do, and he was brilliant. I've got to say that that was the most professional performance I've seen from an away game for years, and what we've got now is we've got three strikers, probably, if not the best, one of the best in the world. And, Kulusevski's come in and he's been absolutely unbelievable. And Sonny's back on form, Kane's back on form, but it's a shame about Doherty. I looked at the game, and I might be going on here too much. If I am,
that's right. Carry on.
I looked at the game, and it was it was made for the way we played, but Aston Villa wanted a war. They wanted to get steam into us. They wanted to make tackles. That's fair enough, but the referee, the one with Doherty, was a foul because he followed through afterwards. There was the one on Harry Kane from Ashley Young was absolutely scandalous. That should have been a sending off. But the referee booked him, and Harry Kane could have been put out of the game for the season. It was an awful but I think they got a bit of, for years they've been having a go at each other, I think, and it was just weird that he came on, and I knew straight away if Harry Kane gets the ball in his area, he's gonna do it.
Have him.
And that's what
I think it's really interesting as well you said that, Graham, because I think I was going to get onto that, obviously, about the ref, because it did seem that he tried to make the game flow. But, Jay, it also seemed that he was letting Villa get away with murder, it seems, like Graham's kind of touched on.
It was kind of difficult to judge, because I think what the ref tried to do was try to let the game flow in the sense of, and it looked like a very old-fashioned game of football in the sense of all of Aston Villa's tackles were hard. Steven Gerrard definitely went out of his way to tell his players, this Tottenham's weakness is mentality. If you can break their mentality early with some big tackles, knock their confidence, then there's probably a chance that, they will cave and Aston Villa would capitalise on that. But I think the problem is, and what Graham was saying is, I think the ref was okay to let it go on for a little bit. I think the problem was it got to the point where you were watching the game thinking someone's going to get hurt here. Yeah. And I think that's where the line needed to be drawn. I'm all for, big tackles. I grew up watching my dad play football with big tackles. It's part of the game, and it's nice to see it. And part of me, even though it was against my team, it was nice to see those big tackles, because you don't see them a lot anymore. And if you do, you normally see them penalised. But it's when it gets too far. And I think that's what happened with the referee at the weekend. He let it get too far. And like Graham said, that Ashley Young thing was just so obvious it was going to happen. They're 4-0 down. They're frustrated. Ashley Young's a left back, and all left backs are known for kicking people up in the air first time they get near him anyway. So, I think the ref let it get too far. But, like Graham said, that could have been Kane's season in a 4-0 win against Villa. Imagine Kane's out for the rest of the year just because of that harsh tackle by Young. So, yeah, it just got out of control towards the end.
Jay, I don't think it was harsh. I think harsh is like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It was like the Liverpool-Man City game yesterday. There was some awful tackles at the end, but at Liverpool, they didn't want to lose the game, and Man City didn't want to lose the game. But the referees, the way football is now is different to when I played. That was natural in when we played. It was hard tackles, not like Ashley Young done, but now you're not allowed to do that. That is a sending off an offence, and I thought the referee was very, very poor. We've had him about 4 or 5 times this year, and I just think the league and the FA need to get hold of these referees and start making them, try to get them better, because you have a look. I don't think any of them went to the last World Cup, and I can't. Yeah,
it kind of speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't see many of them going this year. So
no, especially things like you said. I think the Doherty one is obviously a shame, and the fact that he has been playing so well, for it then to be stalled this season just like that. I don't know whether we should carry a little bit of blame to the medical team in the sense of just letting him play on, considering how crucial that injury now is. To let him play on, Dakota, do you not think that was maybe a call that shouldn't have been left up to the player? It should have been left up to the medical staff there and there.
Yeah, so I think that injury is a weird one. So he's done his MCL, which is, I have a partially torn meniscus right now that I've had for 4 years, that I still go out and play Sunday league every Sunday, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me unless I run more than I need to, and then the back of my knee swells up, and it's awful for a couple of days. But I had that injury for a good 4 or 5 weeks before I even thought to get it checked out. So I think those injuries are weird. You don't really realize how serious they are sometimes until, you get an MRI, you get a scan, and then you realize, oh, this is a major injury that's going to see me out for 4 or 5 months, including surgery and rehab. So yeah, I think it was a bit weird that they let him carry on the second time he got up. He went down, I think, 3 times before they finally pulled him off. And honestly, props to him for popping a couple ibuprofen and trying to go on. I think that speaks to the character that he has and the fight that he has for the badge. But yeah, I think our medical team, not even just in that instance, but in a general sense, needs to, up their game and up their level a little bit. I mean, when's the last time Oliver Skip played? I know he's got a weird injury that can kind of linger on, but surely there's something else that can be done.
Mm-hmm. It is strange because it does seem, Graham, every time we get an injury, so to speak, it takes them ages to recover. And I know you've been a man of the game yourself. Do you think it is a fault of our medical staff today, or do you think it was just one of those bizarre injuries that's happened?
I think the player would have said, look, it's a bit sore. I've got to say, when years and years ago, I was a player manager at Enfield, and we played in a semi-final against Woking, FA Trophy semi-final, and I landed on my knee, both of them. I thought, God, that hurt. Anyway, I played the next season, played the season after, and I went for an X-ray and I tore my cruciate. But I played for 2 more years. I've never had an operation. It's still there. They said it's too late to have an operation. But, these days, they got all the medical equipment. Like, they went home that night. He had a scan at the club. They have their own scans. They see what it is. But as I know where he was coming from, because he hasn't been in the team much. He's got back in. He didn't want to come off and let the team down. And he never. And, hopefully he'll get back very, very soon. We know it's going to be the beginning of next season now. But hopefully he'll get his form back and he'll make the right back his own position.
Fingers crossed. So that's the thing. I think there's been a lot of players in our team at the start of the season. We probably wouldn't be so devastated if they got injured, but Doherty is one of those that has really turned it around. So fingers crossed he has a speedy recovery. But moving slightly away from Doherty, obviously we've got to talk about the first goal, which was a pounce from Sonny. I call it the killer reactions from him. The fact that obviously the first shot from Kane bounced off a Villa defender and then he struck it home straight away. So Jay, how are you kind of feeling when that goal went in? Were your nerves kind of settled, or did you think, hang on, okay, now Villa are going to start proper going at us?
Well, obviously it was totally against the run of play. The story of the first half, that goal was out of nowhere. The goal itself, it was like you said, it was just clinical, and we haven't, obviously Sonny went on to score a hat-trick, but we haven't seen Sonny getting clinical again, and that's what we've been missing from him a lot. And I know, it's Aston Villa, which are not a small club by any stretch of the imagination, but against the bigger teams, maybe he goes missing a little bit, but he was clinical, and I think that was the difference between us and Villa was that killer instinct, and I think that first goal showed that, just to calm the nerves. Obviously, it didn't calm our nerves because the rest of the half we were going absolutely nuts, trying to defend the goal, but. What a perfect start. It wasn't the tail of the half, but it was definitely a good start to it.
I'm glad that you've also said that obviously he was clinical, because he does go on to score 3 goals after having 3 shots. But it was, like you said, a different telltale sign of the first half, because Dakota, I think if Villa could finish their dinner, I think we would have a different story to kind of talk about at half time. Absolutely.
If anyone other than Hugo Lloris is in that net, Villa scores 2, 3, 4 in that first half. Hugo is immense. But I think it was obvious that he was kind of in the zone early on. That Jacob Ramsey shot that he saved, reaction save over the net in the first couple minutes, I think set the tone for Hugo. And I thought, okay, skipper's in the zone, we're gonna have a good game. And maybe it's my own naivety or just how confident I am watching this team play, but I was never nervous that we were going to give up a goal, even in that first half when we were under the cosh and defending for our lives. It seemed I wasn't nervous, and I think that speaks a lot to the way that this team is playing, but also maybe my just optimistic outlook on on this team and the way that Conte has them believing in themselves to play. Graham mentioned the center halves playing the way that they are. We've got a Rolls Royce on the right hand side and Cuti Romero, and he's raising the game of the two guys that are playing next to him. And he's only going to get better, and they're only going to get better. And the way that this team is playing, it's hard to imagine anything other than wins right now, which is a great feeling.
It is a great feeling because for so long I was dreading every single time we played any team. So to now have the optimism that you have, Dakota, I couldn't say that I was completely convinced because obviously there was a chance, Graham, when I think there was a free kick on the edge of the box and the ball came in and Danny Ings was literally just toe touching the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, if he gets clinical contact on that, it's going in, isn't it, Robert? So do you think we did well at soaking up that pressure, or just Villa just not on it?
I think, Hollie, that's why Harry Kane's worth 150 million quid. That's why Sonny's worth 100 million pound plus. That's why Kulusevski's 30-40 million pound. That's the difference. I look at Brighton up to Saturday when they beat Arsenal. That was the first 2 goals they've scored in 7 games. And Brighton, everybody's saying Brighton are a brilliant team, they pass the ball, but they ain't got no strikers. No. And that if you don't have strikers, then you're under pressure. And we know the way we play that those 3 up front for us are going to create chances. And I understand. Like I was watching Sky, and Graham Souness said afterwards, we were lucky first half. Well, I'm sure Liverpool, Man United, Man City have been lucky in the same way. They've been overrun, and you have to ride that. You have to work hard, and we did. And then second half, can you tell me how many shots Aston Villa had at Hugo?
Hardly any.
One shot on target.
One.
So they blew their gasket in the first half, and we just tore them apart with our class in the second half. That's what you do. That's how you win games. And we got the best manager in the country, along with Pep Guardiola and Klopp. We got those are the 3 best managers. We have one now. We have to back him. We have to go all the way. He is absolutely unbelievable. He knows how to get people working for him. And we've said it about Mourinho. We've said it about Pochettino. But if we back this man, we will win trophies. Yeah,
100%. I think he just doesn't lie, does it? The way we've been playing recently, and we'll get onto Conte in a minute because I've got a really cool bit I want to talk to him about. But I know we've just spoken about Hugo, and Jay is a keeper, so I thought I'd get his thoughts, or should I say, retired keeper. We'll get Jay's thoughts, obviously, because I think he had a total of 7 shots that he saved in the first half alone. So
Jay or
Jay. He wishes. So Hugo Lloris. So Jay, your kind of takes on the kind of goalkeeping stint from Hugo.
I think Hugo's performances of recent is a total epitome of how we performed as a team. Me and Hollie went on an Arsenal podcast when the last North London derby was supposed to happen because of COVID. And it's Albert JTV if you are watching. And he was talking about positions that he thought Spurs were weak in. And he brought up goalkeeper. And he said Hugo Lloris was one of our weak points, to which was, to me, an astounding statement. And I did say that at the time.
But that's why he's doing.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But watching Hugo play, and I think Graham alluded to it, and so did Dakota. And I say this with a little bit of bias, but I think the goalkeeper is the most important position on this pitch because it exudes confidence to everybody else. Dakota said about that Jacob Ramsey save in the first half. You know, if that doesn't inspire the defenders to know that the man behind me is going to make that save, even if I make a mistake, to have that confidence. And I think that's why you see our back three at the minute playing so well, because they have such confidence in Hugo. The only time I was a little bit worried was the Matty Cash strike. And I saw a little bit of, I was like, oh, when he like bobbled it up in the air and then recovered it. But he recovered it. And I think that's the difference. You know, when we were playing poorly or we were struggling, it was because Hugo was struggling. And I think that just shows what a big game player he is. And if he can keep up this form, how important it will be down the running.
Let me just come in. Hugo's playing better because he's got three centre-halves in front of him who are the same every week. So he knows what they're doing. You know, when the other managers were, there was Tanganga coming in, there was Rodin coming in, there was Sanchez coming in, you know, and it was, you never played the same back three in twice in a row. It never happened. So Hugo now knows that what those three can do, what they do, and he plays behind them. And you know, I played there. I know how good our defenders can be. But Hugo, we have to make sure we don't, you know, stop him having shots. That's the next thing now. Stop him having shots. But he is a world-class goalie. He's won the World Cup. He's brilliant. Yeah. The bloke is brilliant.
Yeah, if the last person to lift the World Cup is a weak spot in our squad, I'm okay with that.
Stick to watching the Gooners.
Oh dear. I mean, bless Albert. He is probably one of the only Arsenal fans I can tolerate. But that opinion did rattle us a tiny weeny bit. But yeah, I mean, Hugo, he's just phenomenal in the sense that he did manage to obviously keep us in that game and make sure that Villa did, like you said, Graham, blow a casket, and that was pretty much it for the rest of the game. But I want to also obviously talk about Conte, the main man at the moment. Conte Cam every Monday gives me vibes. I love it. And it seems to be every time we get to half time, he does something, he says something, and we come out a brand new team, don't we, Kota? It's I don't know what he says. I don't know whether he does a Mike Bassett in the changing room, but he comes out and we're a totally different team, aren't we?
Yeah. I roll over to my wife on Mondays and I say, "Wake up, babe! A new Conte cam dropped." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Never mind." But yeah, Graham mentioned he's, you know, tied for first, let's say, top coaches in the country, and to have someone like that roaming your sideline is incredible. And he is someone who I think demands the most out of every person who steps on the pitch. And he's got this intangible thing where the players on the pitch want to give that to him. You know, poor Nuno, I'm going to pick on him for a little bit. The man's an incredible leader, I think. He's a person who says all the right things at the right time, but he wasn't really able to inspire that performance and just inspire that drive with our team for the first few months of the season. And Antonio Conte is doing that for our players. So yeah, whatever he's saying at halftime, I don't know if he's got some special sauce that he's feeding our players at halftime and make them come out and, you know, really go for it. But I hope it keeps up, and I hope we give him a couple more of those players in the summer to keep this train rolling.
100%. And I love the fact as well you talk about sauce, because we all know he don't like ketchup, so it's got to be some sort of Conte sauce. But it is true what you say, Dakota. He just has a way with words, I think, and I think it's a way that it's really inspiring players. I mean, Nuno for me is a massive bad dream that I'm trying to forget about, but I think it is true, isn't it, Graham? He seems to install that killer winning instinct that we haven't seen from players for a long time. But I also, like Dakota said, it's because we've brought in players like Bentenka and Kulusevski, which we'll definitely get onto. But it's players like that are winners that are being embedded into this side. Do you not think?
Yeah, listen. When when Nuno got the job, was anybody excited? No. Right. So there's your answer straight away. I think it was a short-term commitment. I think Conte wanted a rest, and then come November, he'd had his rest, because that's what happens. You know, you come out of a job, you don't really want to go straight in the next day because you need a little break. And maybe that was just the stepping stone for Conte to come in. I can't say that Nuno did anything for us apart from upset players. And that went right through the team. And, you know, when you see the game against Man United again, the one that he got sacked from, you could see that I would have said 7 or 8 of the players on that pitch that day were definitely not interested. And that's not what you can have. And that's what we've got now. We've got a manager that is motivational, but as soon as you walk in the dressing room in the morning training, Antonio Conte stood there and you're thinking, wow, that is something special. And that's what you needed. It's same with Man City. You know, it's enthusiasm from the manager that builds into the club. The club now, if you talk to every Spurs fan now, would they want Pochettino back? No, not at all.
Don't mention Pochettino to Jay. Oh dear.
That's how it is. We don't, you know, to be honest, Poch has had his time. We have a new manager. We have to move on, and we've got the best manager we could get now. And hopefully we keep him. And if it was me, I would do 2 things this summer. Conte, 5-year contract. Harry Kane, 5-year contract.
Done.
The team's
Wise
done.
words. It would be. Wise words.
Let Pochettino coach Hugo's testimonial match, and then like nothing else.
That's enough. Oh dear.
He'd probably lose the final, to be fair, but you know he's not a winner.
Oh dear. Anyway,
does that get Hollie upset?
Yeah, we don't fall out about a lot of things, Graham, but football is one of them. Yeah. But moving slightly away from Poch, because I can see Jay getting super happy, and he shouldn't be, because he'll just talk about it for ages. But I just want to get to these super chats. Thank you so much, Faz. Faz said, I said 2 weeks ago, I believe Arsenal would finish 8th. He must have a crystal ball, mate, because you're working wonders at the moment. And Angel as well, thank you also for the gifted super chat. We don't talk about Nuno, and I know what song that is. I love it. So thank you very much for your super chats. Jay, I am going to come to you next, but I'm not going to talk about Pochettino. Instead, I'm going to talk about Kulusevski and the fact that obviously in the second half, I think about the 50th minute, he gets on the score sheet from another, sensational ball from Harry Kane. That man just does it every week in, week out. Not that I get bored about talking about how great Kane is. It's just a given every week. So what is your kind of thoughts on Kulusevski at the moment?
I think the thing with Decky is a trap that Tottenham have finally not fallen into when it comes to buying players on the wings and in the attacking positions. You've seen players like Clinton and G come through the door who are fast and nimble, but they're not made for the Premier League. Decky has come in and he looks like he is built for this league. He's not as fast as some of the other wingers that you could possibly get in, but he is built and he is strong and he is skillful. And I think that's why we're seeing the performances we're seeing from him and why he's fitting so well into the Premier League so quickly. Obviously, I really want to see him maintain that form, and he is at the minute. And I am a little bit worried of fall off because, but I think that's the Spurs in me, and I don't know if it's in the fan base. Yeah, I'm expecting it to fall off at some point, and then we're going to have the Arsenal fans bantering us about Martinelli again, and it's all just going to kick off. But I just think he is such a breath of fresh air because you sign a lot of players from foreign leagues, and you're always worrying about the adaptation period that it takes to play in our league. And I think obviously Conte, and this goes back to what Graham was saying about the right recruitment and trusting Conte and giving Conte everything he needs, because, they told us, when we signed Decky that it was a Juve reject and Bentancur is a Juve reject, but Juventus are in the Champions League. They win the Serie A pretty much every year, not so much recently, but in the past, we want that club. So, you know, okay, they're Juventus rejects, but they've won a lot more trophies than Arsenal have, and all of other teams in the Premier League that were you know, bantering us about these signings. But I just think he's such a breath of fresh air, and I cannot get over the chemistry between that forward three in such a short time. Such a short time.
There are joint club now. So it's Juventus, Spurs now.
Yeah.
And Tottenham, Uwe.
I like it. I do like it.
For a Juventus reject, Bentancur sure did play a lot of games. He, during his time at Juventus, the only player to play more games for Juventus was Paulo Dybala, who coincidentally is also going to be wearing our shirt next season. So
don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. I can't go through another summer like that. No, thank you. Oh my word. But slightly going back to Kulusevski just quickly. I mean, he has scored 3 goals, got 6 assists in 11 games. And I think I watched something last night. I can't remember for the life of me what show it was, but people were talking about the fact that we shouldn't get too carried away because the likes of Lo Celso and that, they came across, and then what did they do? But I'm sorry, that man has contributed a lot more than Gio Lo Celso has ever done in a Spurs shirt. So I think for that kind of sense, we need to actually be like, I think this guy's potential could potentially be up through the ceiling. Do you not think, Graham?
Yes, I do. I think, you know, I've seen him play. He's Swedish. He knows he's a strong character. He's powerful. You know, listen, Hollie, I don't know what shows you watch, but if I was you, don't watch them again.
Don't watch them.
Right? It might have been match of the day or something like that. But Bentancur, look at him. Unbelievable. He played, I think, up to when he signed for us in January, he played 25 games this season for him. So, you know, Juventus keep throwing them out and we'll keep picking them up and making us better. But Kulusevski, I've got to tell you a story. So I went and watched the Southampton game. I had a night off from work. So my mate gave me his table in one of the posh places and I took 3 mates. So at the end of the game, one of them is named Dan Crowd. And he said, Kulusevski only went on the pitch for 20 minutes. He said, I'm going to go for it now. He said, he ain't good enough. I said, he's only played 20 bloody minutes. He went, no, I've seen enough. He ain't good enough. It's a waste of money. So every game now, I text him and say, "God, I'm so pleased you're not our scout."
Wow.
He's not alone. He wasn't alone in that, though. There were so many people after those 20 minutes saying he wasn't good enough. And we were up 2 goals and people were complaining that he wasn't progressive enough. I'm like, there's 20 minutes left. You get the ball and you go to the corner. You're not trying to go score goals. You're trying to just run the clock out. So, yeah, I'm glad there's a lot of people who aren't our scouts as well.
100%. And it's a madness that we write players off so quickly. I don't know whether that's because we're so frustrated that we've waited so long to go and succeed something in the league or to go and win something. I don't know if we just be like, right, I'm impatient now. He hasn't done something right now. I'm done with him. Or that's just us. I don't know.
But that's you youngsters. That is you youngsters. If it doesn't work in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, well, he's no good. He ain't no good. Get another one in. We'll buy another one. You know, football's not like that. And so, Hollie, please tell all your younger ones, be patient.
I know. I'm trying to tell myself. That's why I don't do puzzles anymore, Graham, because I can't do them because I'm not patient enough. So I'll try.
Big one. It's got 4. You could just put 4.
Oh no, that's too much. I can't do that. But I think the thing with me with Kulusevski is the fact that he's just slotted in so well, and the fact that he complements Sonny and Kane so well as well, doesn't he, Jay? I think that's another thing. We've waited for someone to naturally come into the league, perform right from the off, but also just be that added source of getting a goal, setting a goal up.
Now, I'm going to bring him up, but not in a negative sense, I promise. But the last time I have seen an attack this deadly is back in the Poch days, which is the only thing I will compliment him on, is Dele Alli, Eriksen, Kane and Son. Like that was the last, this front three is the first time since then that I've been that excited about every time they step on the pitch. And like Graham said, you know, against I knew Jade would come in as I talk about Poch. You know, as Graham alluded to earlier, with the quality we have, we will create chances. And whether it's, you know, against, like, I'm thinking about the Arsenal game, watching Arsenal against Brighton. If Arsenal aren't clinical against us and we get 2 chances, I back us to score our 2 chances. No matter what the Arsenal fans think about the game, that's simply it. They could dominate us the whole game if they like, but this front three just don't miss at the minute. They just don't miss. I haven't been this excited with a front three since
touch wood somewhere.
Yeah, touching my desk, like slamming it.
But yeah, no, you're right. It's the fact that we have a deadly front three, and we've waited so long for that to happen. Jay, can you mute your mic, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. And we've waited so long for that to happen. I just want to move slightly away to Kane, Graham, because we talk about Kane week in, week out because he is world class. There's no doubt on that. But again, we saw him. I think it was the little flick on for Sonny's last goal. The way he just managed to out of nothing flick it on, Sonny's through on goal, and it's a goal. I mean, what more can we say about that man?
Well, listen, he went through a summer, and I was on your show in this earlier on this year. You know, he wasn't treated properly. Nuno never treated him properly because they knew where he was. But okay, maybe he did want to go to Man City. Nobody will ever know. But he's come back and he's got a manager that absolutely loves him. So Harry Kane will be absolutely unbelievable. He will now get better and better as he gets older and older. And, you know, he could be a number 10, he can be a number 9. You know, we read that we're going to go and get Dybala. Can you tell me where he's going to play? Because I ain't got a clue. Unless we're going to play five strikers, I don't know.
Right, all up there.
Well, we'll go back to the Aussie Ardiles days. And like 3 defenders and 9 strikers or 8 strikers. So, no, but listen, Harry, he is a world-class player. We're not saying he's the best player in the world. What we're saying is he is a world-class player. And what he's brought into his game now is the link-up plays where him and Sonny are on such a wavelength that, you know, if you look, the goal that you're talking about, I think it was the 3rd goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he's come off, he's looked where Sonny is and he just flicked it over the lad's head and like with his flicked it off his head over the lad's head. Yeah, that is what you do in training. You don't do it in matches. So, you know, he's a genius. The fellow is a genius. And like last night, I was watching the golf. I don't know if you like golf, do you? Harry Kane was on there in the Masters in America.
That's mad.
So obviously he's playing that well. They gave him the day off today. So,
I think he flew straight over there as well. I think the rumor was Conte just let him go.
Yeah, I think he had his private jet and in bye-bye, I'm going. So yeah, so we're about to queue up at Stansted to go. So.
All us normal people. I'm not like Harry Kane gets a private jet to the ground. I mean, what more could you say about that man? Dakota, I'll come to you because obviously we've spoken about the telepathy between Son and Kane is just unmatched. It really is. And it's growing strength by strength, and it's happening right at the business end of the season as well, isn't it, Dakota?
Yeah, which is huge. You know, we talked last week about momentum, and it seems like we are still climbing the momentum mountain. We're not even reached the peak yet. So hopefully the peak comes match day 38 and Sonny can score like 7 goals, all assisted by Harry Kane, and they win Golden Boot and Playmaker Award. That would be deserving, I think, for the way that they've been able to play this second half of the season. The ball from Romero to Harry Kane's forehead, by the way, shouldn't be overlooked because Kane can take a peek away from the ball because of the quality of that pass from Romero. So it seems like the whole team is really just clicking on all cylinders. And something that I think is really important too is the unselfishness of this front three.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it a lot with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. They've combined for 40 goals now, and it's pretty even on goals and assists between the two. But maybe this is a little bit of a stretch, but it really seemed like Kulusevski was purposefully looking for Heung-min Son for that third goal because he wanted Sonny to have that hat trick so bad. So it's fun to see this front three, like Jay mentioned, clicking so quickly. Kind of makes you wonder what they're going to be like next season with the whole off season and summer training and all that to gel even more. And hopefully whoever comes in the summer kicks on as fast as they have. And I think that's part of why we've been so impressed with these two incomings, and we've been so critical these days of Ndombele and Lo Celso because they didn't kick on in the same way that these two guys have as quickly. So maybe it's comparing them, and that's not really fair to Ndombele and Lo Celso, but it's hard to not compare when these guys are playing as well as they are being in camp, in a middle of the season transfer window.
And it is really interesting as well that obviously you say the fact that we shouldn't compare. It's so hard not to, like you said, because they have been performing really, really well. And like you said, it seems to all be clicking at the right time. And I know we've spoken heavily about the incomings making a massive difference, but it's also those outgoings because, like you said, it seems to be like a proper vibe around this club, which I must say for a long time, I didn't think we'd ever get to this point because of certain individuals. I don't really want to name names because I think we can all kind of tell who they were and who they are, kind of brought the side down. And it seems now that we're all kind of gelling back together, which is great because obviously next up, Jay, is Brighton. And before I get to Jay, I just want to say thank you to John for whizzing in a super chat. Thank you once again. Evening, Holes, Graham and the gents. Evening, my friend. Thank you very much for tuning in and sending your super chat over. But Jay, next up is Brighton. And I want to get your kind of thoughts on it. I know last week me and Dakota were talking about obviously momentum. Momentum is heavily involved in this fixture once again. What's your kind of outlook on this one?
Can I just say you just said about players leaving the club.
Mm-hmm.
Those players wasn't good enough for this club.
No, they weren't.
That's the answer. Lo Celso played 2 games, injured for 22 games. Ndombele can't run. You can't play football if you can't run in the Premier League. That's impossible. Gill, too light. He's a lightweight. So those 3 players there have gone. Dele Alli. I feel sorry for Dele Alli because I don't know where his career is going to go now. But they're not good enough for the Premier League. So they had to go. Ndombele's doing wonders in France, but it's a Mickey Mouse bloody league. That's why.
You're right. And it is true. Like I think because over the past year, I've spoken so much about how they're bringing the whole team down. It just brings you down as well. It's like, come on, pull your weight. We want to see you do well in a Spurs shirt, but I can't keep giving you excuses. I think that was the whole kind of trouble with it. But it is, I mean, I'm glad, like you say, Dele Alli is a bit of a, I wouldn't say a sad story. I just think he's got very sidetracked. And I think now he's maybe found a different way of, or a different path of life that he wants to pursue maybe. And maybe football isn't.
Well, he's probably got to go abroad. That's where he's got to go.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. I'll see Dele Alli and playing over here in the MLS next season, probably.
You reckon?
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
It would suit him.
Spain or France. I think French football will suit him. But he needs to get out of England because he's just nobody's trusting him anymore. So you're wasted. And he's got talent, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
It is a shame. Jay, did you want to add anything to Dele Alli?
Not on Dele. I just want to say about Gio. I just want to say that Gio's best performance in a Tottenham shirt has actually been in a Villarreal shirt, because getting man of the match in that Champions League game against Bayern has definitely mean that we will probably sell him for some bucks in the summer. because otherwise I don't know what sort of money we would have got for him. But him putting in that performance in the week has done us the world of good, and it's probably the most he's contributed towards the club in his whole tenure of being here.
I agree.
That...
I agree, Jay.
Oh dear. But Jay, I will stick with you. If you could just quit, thank you. I'll stick with Jay quickly because obviously we do have Brighton up next. We spoke to Dakota last week, obviously, about momentum. Again, this is another fixture we need to gain momentum on to obviously kick in front of Arsenal. So, Jay, I'll come to you. What do you think will happen, or what do you hope will happen versus Brighton?
Well, I hope we're going to win because we're going. And well, touch wood again. I haven't seen Spurs lose at home ever. So, yeah, no pressure.
Have you been to one?
No, I've been to loads. I've been a lifelong Spurs background. Don't give me that. No, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like Graham said earlier about obviously Brighton not scoring in 7. I was very excited going into this fixture. Obviously, them beating Arsenal at the weekend kind of thinks, oh, maybe a bit Spursy at the weekend. They might, but the way we're playing at the minute, I can't see them beating us. And I don't think Arsenal were that convincing. They had like Arteta just looked so defeated after that game. He didn't have any excuses. He just said they weren't good enough. And I think if Brighton maybe played a better Arsenal, they might have struggled, which makes me think with the form we're in, there's no reason why we shouldn't roll them over at the weekend.
Jay, I'll ask you a question. Harry Kane's son, Kulusevski, played in the Arsenal team last Saturday. How many goals would they have scored?
4.
Yeah,
this is exactly the point. The point.
It's like what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if we get those chances that Arsenal had, we're going to score because we have goal scorers. You know, like people were giving we were talking about Harry Kane. They were giving Harry Kane stick early in the season. Arsenal fans, he's all useless. And this, well, he's got more goals than their 3 centre forwards put together, I think. So yeah,
I'm not in disbelief either, to be fair.
That sums it up, doesn't it? Eh? Yeah. The Gooners keep sticking to what you got. You're good.
It is a great position to be in. I mean, you think about the start of the season, I wanted to hide my head in the sand, but now it seems to be going all in our favour right at the right time. But Graham, you've kind of already said that obviously we've got those 3 up top. It's going to be easy peasy.
No,
what do you think?
Easy peasy.
No, true.
You know,
every kind of gave me that vibe.
Every game's hard. Every game is hard, Hollie, and you have to earn the right. And don't forget, we played them in the FA Cup not long ago, and you know they were probably the better side first half, and we played it out, and we weren't playing as well as we're playing now. You know, Brighton don't fear me at all because they ain't got no strikers. So they might get 1 or 2 chances from midfield and have a long shot and all that, but they've got no strikers. So, you know, I'll give you the score in a minute.
Go on, I'll be ready. I'll come round to Graham first, mate. But Dakota, I'll come to you. Obviously, you are very statty for me, which is why I've kind of left you towards the end because I know you're the stat man. So, Dakota, give me your kind of thoughts on this Brighton game.
Yeah. So they draw a load of games. They've got 13 draws this season, and they have a decent defense. They've allowed as many goals as we have over the course of the season. So they're in an awful run of form. I know they just won, but before that, they haven't won in 7 games in a row, 6 of those being losses. So if we're looking at form, we're looking at the table, we're looking at everything that we've talked about over these last 45 minutes or so, there's no reason to think that we shouldn't rock up and take all 3 points. Like Graham said, every game is hard. But the way that these boys are playing, they make it look easy. So the important thing for the team, and I think for us, is to not let that go to our heads, not make us think that it is going to be easy. But honestly, if we go out and we play our game, there's no reason to think that we shouldn't be hopefully extending our lead over that lot from across town and really taking a hold of that 4th spot. And like I said last week, starting to track down Chelsea for that third place by the end of the season.
I love the optimism, Dakota. I mean, if you're gonna, you might as well sky high or shoot high, and then at least if you fall a little bit, you drop where you need to be anyway. So I do like that feeling, Dakota. Graham, I'll come to you now for your score prediction. What do you reckon the score will be, my friend?
Well, I think it's a tough game, but I just believe in everything that we've got at the moment. We've got the two midfield players are playing out exceptional. Bentancur has been absolutely amazing this season since he's been here. He slows the game down, he quickens it up, and you're going to be surprised what I'm going to say.
I'm ready.
So I'm going to go for 2 scores.
Okay.
4-0 or 4-1. And that's
Nice.
because they might get a free kick like Newcastle. It might even go more. But I'll settle for 4-0 or 4-1.
I like the sound of that because then I'll be happy at the ground and then I won't be miserable and then I won't have to drive Jay home.
You won't be miserable ever again. All right? Because we win our next 3 games. Right, we got Brentford away. Brentford beat West Ham yesterday. That's the next game after this one. But we're a different kettle to West Ham. West Ham had their mind on this Europa League game. So we win 3 games where Arsenal have to play Man United, Chelsea, and I can't remember who the next one is. It's all over.
It is.
You can start having a party.
I will as well. I'll make sure of it.
I don't mean Thomas party. I mean a party.
Oh, no, not that one. Ooh, no, not that type of party. But no, I do like that, Graham. Graham, I love your words of wisdom. I just come to Jay as well. Jay, I'll get your kind of score predictions. Are you feeling just as confident as Graham?
I'm feeling confident because we talked about it yesterday. I think apart from anyone in the top 6, I don't see us in the way we're playing. I don't see us struggling to score against any teams that we have remaining to play. And I would even go as far as maybe to include Arsenal in that. Liverpool, I think, is the big game for us. I think it's more of a pride game. I don't think it's going to be the game that hinges on us getting top 4 or not. But I think Brighton should be a convincing win. I'll probably go for 3 minimum, and hopefully we keep a clean sheet. But yeah, I reckon 3-0.
Jay, just on that, you just said Liverpool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the pressure on? Liverpool or Tottenham?
Yep.
Well, we'll find out come 7th of May.
No. Listen, they're going for the league.
Yep.
Yeah, but they might not be by then.
Yeah, but they have to. They have to win every game to have it. I don't. If they win every game, Man City is still winning. But that game that day, all of a sudden, it's not a relaxed game and all that. They're under pressure, and the pressure's on them. And that's where
at Anfield, though, Graham. What do you think at Anfield?
Yes.
Because at Anfield, they seem to thrive. I think at Anfield, if it was at our place, I think I would be a bit more confident. But I just think Liverpool at Anfield just seem to be a different animal to Liverpool away from. Feel free to disagree.
Man City against Tottenham at home. Man City.
Yeah, but that's City, though.
No, but hold on. Man City ain't scored a goal against us at Tottenham, so we knew we was going to go there and win. So,
yeah,
but
true.
I'm talking.
That's Nuno masterclass the first time round.
The pressure. Listen, it'll all be over by then anyway. We'll only have to win. We'll only have to beat Arsenal, maybe, or get a draw, and we'll be qualified. That is. So we got to win our next 3 games. Focal, on that game on Saturday. Give it everything you've got. We go to Brentford. We beat them. Then you got Leicester at home, and we got Burnley and Norwich to come. Wow, that is difficult, isn't it?
I mean, I was going to get onto top 4 chat, but I think we've already pretty much done it because we have got the better running, and it's really hard not to get really excited in it, Dakota. I mean, you're probably the wrong person to ask, Dakota, because you're buzzing, but it's true, isn't it? How can you not get excited with that running?
Yeah, I mean, I said a couple of weeks ago that I didn't think we were losing another game the rest of the season. And the way that we're playing right now, I don't know that we're going to drop points the rest of the season. Like Graham mentioned, that Liverpool is going to have a ton of pressure on them. I think by then they're going to be emotionally exhausted too. So they're going to be, physically drained from giving everything to every game that they're playing. And let's not forget they also are in Europe. They're in domestic cups too. They're playing a lot of games. We have one game a week to focus on. So I think we're at minimum taking a draw away from Anfield, and I would not be surprised at all if we walk away with all 3 points. But yeah, I think top 4. Like I already think we're finishing 4th minimum. I'm looking at 3rd now because the teams below us aren't. I'm not threatened by them at all. The only team that I think has a shot at us is Arsenal, and that's only if they beat us, which is not going to happen. Just point blank, period. It's not going to happen. So I'm seriously coming after 3rd place, and I'm going to enjoy the transfer kitty that's going to be big this summer and see really what happens to our squad because it's going to be busy.
Hollie, just quickly before you pack up, Liverpool, right? The game it'd be finished by then. But what you got to realise is, if Arsenal have won 2 games, the last 2 games, they could have gone to Chelsea and got a draw. They can't go. One of the teams, they can't. Both of them can't afford to draw. So somebody's going to lose in that game. So that's a 6 points to us. So that's the way you got to look at it. You've got to look at it positive. With Chelsea have to play. I think Chelsea has to play Man United as well, or they have to play somebody. And they've got difficult games where they cannot afford to draw. 1 point is no good anymore. You've got to get 3 points. So one of the team, both of them, if they get 1 point each, it's brilliant. But one of them's going to lose because the Chelsea or Arsenal are going to go for it. So that's a good thing for us now.
It's a very good stead.
I thank Arsenal for doing what they've done last week. It was unbelievable. They give me a birthday. They give me a early birthday.
Oh, I love it. It is great because it's like you say, it's like the tables have turned on their head, and it's nice now to be like we're in the driving seat because these games are exciting for us because they are games that we should be winning. And like you said, okay, Liverpool, I think Sadat says here, Liverpool will fight us, exhaustion or not. They will fight us, but like you said, they've got a lot more riding on it than us. And I think that's an interesting point to take from everything, Graham. So thank you for that one. I am going to wrap everything up this evening because it's been live now for 57 minutes and it's been a great chat, obviously, to discuss that win, to talk about top 4 and the fact that obviously we could be sitting here in a couple of weeks' times very, very happy with ourselves and that we have European football to talk about next season. So that would be lovely and I'll be happy. So we're going to go around the table and say our goodbyes and where everybody can find everyone. So Jay, I'll start with you first so I can mute my mic first. Where can everybody find you doing your thing?
Sat right next to you, apparently. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok and Twitch, all of the T's. And it's just at JayJaySZN, that kind of stream on Twitch. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
There we go. Wait for his mic to be muted again. Thank you very much, Dave, for joining me tonight. And also, I know we all know where to find Graham, but Graham, let the people know where they can find you talking your Tottenham stuff.
Well, I've got to be careful because if I give out my Twitter account, then I get all the gooners on there. And I must have blocked 2,000 gooners.
Wow.
So I don't like giving it out, Ollie. So you've got it, and that's all that counts.
All right, sounds.
They can see me at the ground on Saturday. All right, there.
I like it. Thank you so much again, Graham, for joining me tonight. I really thoroughly enjoy it when I get you on, so thank you so much. And Dakota, where can everybody find you doing your thing as well, my friend?
Yeah, everybody can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dakota J Booth. No Tottenham stuff on my Instagram, just pictures of my family, but I love them, so you can go show some love over there too. I also have a show called the Tottenham Depot. You can follow that on Twitter as well at Tottenham Depot. Podcast I have with some mates, and we also have Caroline Stefko on there, who, if you follow her, kind of focuses in on the women's team. So we get regular women's team updates as well. And it's a good time if you want to hear some American Spurs fans giving their perspective.
No, I love it. Thank you, Dakota. Like I say, it's so nice to obviously have people from across the pond on the show as well. So thank you very much, Dakota. And I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat as well tonight. Thank you for the super chats that have come in. Hollie Hotspurs Live will be back next Monday, talk about the Brighton game. I should have some content over the weekend, just some clips of stuff, because obviously I'll be actually going to the game this weekend, so that should be fun. Hopefully none of me being angry at Jason when we lose, because we're going to win, so it's not going to matter. But like I say, thanks again to everybody that has joined this evening, to my guests, and until next time, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.